The Mannin Line with Beth Espey.
Well, first to my good afternoon. A very warm and sunny welcome to this lunchtime's Mannin Line. Beth with you just for today, and I would really love to talk to you about whatever is on your mind. 66 13 68 is the number to call. If you can't speak on the phone though, you can email studio@manxradio.com. You can text 166 177 or messages for free on WhatsApp 07624 166 177. Lots of things in the news this morning. We've been talking a lot about that bed capacity at Nobles Hospital. Also, Tynwald giving the green light for the detailed tramway reinstatement plans this week. And could the future of a hall in Baldrine be at risk? Is there a community hall in your area which is still really important to you? All that, or perhaps you might have something else entirely to talk about. Whatever it is, we would love to hear from you. And we can go straight to the lines now and join Bonzo this afternoon. Good afternoon, Bonzo. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm reasonable, thank you, trying to change the world one beer at a time. Is Alex all right, or is he, does he need to lie down in a darkened room for a bit?
I think that's possibly where he is at the moment. We'll go and give him a little bit of a fan later, but he will be back tomorrow.
Oh, good. Yeah, right. Just so long as it.
You haven't scared him off. Yeah, he's fine.
No,
he's all right.
no. He keeps taking tablets. Yes. But in more serious vein, fuel price shocks and the current situation. I was listening to Tynwald yesterday, and some of the comments there, which sort of have guarded optimism. Which may very well have been the situation yesterday, but I'm not quite sure that that's going to continue to be the situation, because I think things are being rapidly overtaken by events.
So, Bonzo, you're talking specifically about the situation in Iran?
Well, the situation in Iran and the Gulf.
Right.
Because, of course, first point I'm going to make is that Qatar has been quite severely affected by Iranian strikes, and yesterday its gas liquefaction facilities were very seriously damaged, to the point where the Amani, the oil corporation, whatever they call themselves, say that they can no longer fulfill contracts. They're using the term force majeure on that. And the damage that has apparently been done to that gas liquefaction plant will probably take something like 2 to 3 years to repair. So that's going to have a permanent knock-on on liquid natural gas. But the other things that are really, of course, concerning to us are things like the price of aviation fuel, Jet A1 and Avtar, and particularly marine fuel oil, which has its current 20 port index is at $708 a ton, globally $747 a metric ton. But apparently in some ports it's at $1,113 a metric ton. And one of the reasons for that is that part of that Qatari complex also, I think, was the main global producer of this very heavy fuel oil, which is the stuff that powers ferries, amongst other things, as well as freight ships. So there will be, firstly, issues with the price of it, and secondly, the supply of it. And that, of course, affects, our transport in and out of the island, and, of course, our lifeline services from the steam packet. Now, Manx Utilities, have hedged their gas supplies by forward buying. Yes, that's a very wise thing to do. But hedging contracts are, in fact, subject to this force majeure situation whereby if you've got war, act of God or anything, they can just say, sorry, we can't supply. Or we simply can't supply at the price that you've agreed. You'll have to pay us the price that we're going to tell you, the market price or market price plus or some such. So whilst cross fingers, better heads may prevail and people might stop throwing missiles around and get around a table. And whilst I think we're all hoping for the best, I think perhaps a realization of what the worst might entail is something I think that the general public can sort of stomach rather than be completely frightened by.
Yeah. Really interesting points there, Bonzo. As you say, it is an incredibly volatile situation. I'm delighted to say I've got a full switchboard, so we're going to move on now. But I think there are some more texts and emails that we'll read out about that situation. But lovely to talk to you as ever. Take care.
Okay, and bye.
Bye-bye. That was Bonzo talking about the current situation that we're seeing in Iran and the Middle East. Back to the lines now, and we can say good afternoon to Julian. Julian, how are you?
Hi, Beth. Well, isn't the Isle of Man beautiful today? But you've got a nice view up there.
Honestly, it is glorious. I can see right across, and we can even see Onken. There's not even a cloud in the sky, it looks like, at the moment. So, yeah, very, very welcome, and makes us all feel a little bit more positive, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty positive. I've just been looking at the Monte Urbasa crude oil tanker doing 4.1 knots through the Strait of Hormuz. The Al Qut crude oil tanker's on its way round. So unless vesselfinder.com is lying and the AIS system seems all right. And also, of course, Lloyd's of London withdrew cover for tanker insurance, with the war thing. So the US administration got the International Development Finance Corporation to do $20 billion worth of reinsurance. So they don't have to worry about keeping on with the insurance. So I think that's probably why there's still movement going along, because I think Lloyd's dropped the ball and America's picked it up. So there you go.
But you want to talk horse trams, I understand?
Yeah. I'm just concerned that there's suggestions about making a business case for running the horse trams to the sea terminal, and it's just going to be left to yet another consultancy like Sistra, who did the Heritage Railway report in 2024, a consultation report that will no doubt cost tens to hundreds of thousands of pounds, and it may not look at the big picture benefits of having the horse trams, running the full length of the promenade. And it'll probably be extremely well-paid economists running data modelling, as they advertise that they do. So I don't see why we can't just get on preparing the track route, especially as we're hearing that the foundation is already in place. You could do it car parking bay by bay to minimise disruption, make sure that the walkway parking's available to get all the spaces up. I just get the feeling that another expensive consultation on something that was decided and mandated years ago doesn't make any sense. And, the full civil works, the track installation, system testing, it's under half a mile. And that could be achieved well before the August 7th anniversary day for the horse tram, 150 year. We could save tens to hundreds of thousands of pounds on yet another consultancy from a bunch of people in the UK. Just get on with it and do it. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody with a mini digger that can go down that narrow bit. Just move, minimise disruption, move the cars in each bay as you're going along, just get it done. I don't see that there's any time for prevarication anymore. Let's just do it.
Do you know, it's an interesting point. I mean, certainly thinking about the 150th anniversary this year, just remind people that this was the subject of a Tynwald motion this week. Sarah Maltby brought this forward. And while the vote was unanimous to bring those detailed proposals in May to look at the business case, it doesn't, as you say, Julian, necessarily mean that they are going to reinstate the track the full length of the prom. But I think it's a really good question, actually. And we will ask that question. Who's going to carry out the work on putting that business case together? Let's see if we can find out that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Beth. And I think it's just waste of time, waste of our money. By the time you paid that, you could have had the track paid for and done already. I mean, we've already got the business case done, because otherwise Tynwald wouldn't have authorised it. So it's already done. There's just enough of the delay tactics and dragging the feet. Get it done.
Brilliant. Julian, lovely to talk to you as ever. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks, Beth. Cheers.
Take care. That was Julian there talking about the horse trams. It's still interesting, actually. We possibly sometimes assume that everybody has the same thought about the horse trams, but I know when we've been out and about speaking to people, not everybody is necessarily very keen on that full reinstatement. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. Back to the lines now, and we can join Alan. Good afternoon, Alan. How are you?
Hi, Beth. There was a presentation at the Falcon down in Port Erin last night with the firearms department of the police.
Oh, yes.
I'd just like to thank the Rotary who for letting the public come to this, and I'd also like to thank the firearms department for putting it on, because it was absolutely brilliant, the presentation. They just explained everything that they were doing, and I hope the people that attended it feel a lot more at ease with them.
That's really positive to hear, Alan. I think, again, it's that sort of thing, isn't it? We all assume what goes on in certain areas, but actually getting that insight into it is really helpful, particularly with something like this. I know we had the Chief Constable on with Andy a few weeks ago, and he was very clear about how firearms was dealt with over here and how it was managed. But yeah, great to go to the people, and glad that you found it so informative.
Well, it was. The good thing about it was, while they were doing the presentation, they said several times, please interrupt and ask awkward questions. So it wasn't a presentation and then questions after. You know, you could intervene while they were talking, which was brilliant, and they answered the questions.
And did you feel all your questions were answered, Alan?
Yes.
Brilliant. So that was put on by the Rotary at the Falcon in Port Erin last night. Was there a good turnout?
It wasn't a bad turnout. There was only 2 or 3 empty chairs in there.
And if there was one thing that you sort of took away from the whole presentation, what was it?
You just feel a bit better about it all, because nobody likes to see them going round all blacked up, and they said about why they wear the ski masks, why they dress like they do. They just explained everything, and it was really good. And I really hope they can put more of these on around the island that other people can go to and listen to.
Wonderful. Alan, thank you so much for taking the time to phone in and let us know about that.
Okay, thanks.
All right, take care.
Bye.
That was Alan talking about the presentation, which was at the Falcon in Port Erin last night. Back to the lines now, and Howard's here. Howard, how are you?
Hi, Beth. I think we're getting a variety in this last couple of days, aren't we, with Alex and yourself?
I know, yes.
Get Andy back eventually. No, what it is, just while the Bonda was on, I was thinking about the oil and all the areas that are affected by this particular skirmish. But what people will have to remember, and it's something I was told when I was working for Manx Petroleums, the oils that come out of the ground in the various countries, various places on the world, quite a lot of them, are not suitable for making what we would term as petroleums, diesels, heating oils. They have different categories. So, before people say, why don't they open up all the oil wells and gas wells around Britain to help us out, it may not be suitable, because a lot of countries export the oil, because it'll go to an area where it has a different use, like heavy fuel oils. We used to use medium fuel oil in the power station here, and each oil has a different, how can I say, grading for viscosity. So I remember as I was working at the airport, and every year we used to get, around about this time of year actually, normally aviation fuel is water clear, as we call it. At this time of year, it used to come and had a slight straw tint, a goldy, and the nickname on that was Moroccan mist, and that had come from around the Moroccan oil fields. So they were able to tell exactly where it come from because of the work going through the paperwork. But having said that, if people bear in mind that the oil that's been extracted in countries all over the world will not all be identical, as just in one word, as oil. They are different viscosities and different uses. So going to another country to get a particular oil might not be successful because once it goes through the catalyst, they might not be able to take out, which they do in a series in the tall tower. They might not be able to get out the type of oils that they actually want.
That's really interesting, Howard. Thank you so much. Yeah, again, it's that assumption, isn't there, that oil is just oil, but understanding there's a lot more to it than that. Obviously, it's always a lot more complicated. Lovely to talk to you, Howard. Have a lovely afternoon.
And you. Take care. Bye now.
That was Howard there. So thank you very much indeed for all those calls. We've still got plenty of time for more. 66 13 68 is the number to call. We'll take a very quick break and then we'll go through some of your texts and emails.
Today at 5:30, join me, Fiona McCardle, for Shackley.
Son, Blaine na Gilgar am sa bhíocha yindasacht again na smooth gilg uns Ram Acton and Castle.
You see, we're a roughish set of chaps that's brought up rough on our mammy's laps.
Eternal to a child. It was a mere blink of history when the reckoning came.
So the society offers different things for different people.
That's 5:30 today, Shackley, with me, Fiona McCardle.
Remember when you used to get business advice from your bank manager? Stiff upper-lipped pillars of the community whom you called Sir? Nowadays, you can get all the advice on every business issue from the friendly, down-to-earth chaps at Crow Isle of Man. And some of the chaps are even women. Imagine! Crow Isle of Man. Global presence, local knowledge.
Crow Isle of Man. 627 335.
Discover your dream home in Andreas with Cal Developments Limited. Their quality new build 2, 3 and 4 bedroom properties offer countryside living with amazing views just 5 minutes from Ramsey. These spacious homes are built for modern energy efficient living with ground floor underfloor heating and air source heat pumps. Plus contemporary kitchens, beautiful bathrooms, landscaped exteriors and more. Reserve yours now. Cal Developments Limited, Oatlands Road, Andreas. Island living redefined.
Manx Solar Electrical offer wise solar and heating solutions for home and business. We're the Isle of Man's trusted experts in solar panels, Tesla battery storage and energy-efficient heat pumps, helping you power your home sustainably and save money. Call 66 5800 or visit manxsolarelectrical.com. Our island's energy reimagined.
Don't miss the Cane and Wicker furniture range in store at Millichaps of Ramsey. Includes sofas, chairs and swivel rocker chairs, dining sets and coffee tables with designs featuring quality frames, beautiful fabrics including Laura Ashley designs and comfortable fully sprung seats with leather bindings. Plus, we have special offer suites and a huge range of window blinds to complement. Discover exclusive Cane and Wicker furniture in store now at Millichaps of Ramsey.
The Mannin Line with Beth Espey.
And it has just gone 12:22. 66 13 68 is the number to call if you'd like to get in touch and chat about anything at all this lunchtime, even if it's positive. We take those ones too. You can also text 166 177, email studio@manxradio.com or find us on WhatsApp. We have had a text just asking, what was that big plane that just flew over? I didn't notice it, but I'm sure somebody will have been looking on the flight radar-y thing and hopefully can let us know. Let's just go back to the lines, though, now and join David Quirk. David, good afternoon. You okay?
Hi, Beth. Yes, it's great. And just to let my fans know, I'm 3.5 kilowatts into my solar panels and my battery's up to 30%. So that gets at the MEA.
Okay.
But
is that your personal solar panel there? No. Go on. Go on, David. So
yeah. And we've got them at the football club as well, and they're producing about 4 kilowatts.
Perfect.
So that's really great. And that's what we should be looking at. That's government should be giving us incentives to buy batteries so we can store stuff and ease it's an easy way to ease the future bills, isn't it? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I want to talk about the post offices and thank the Speaker of the House of Keys yesterday, June Watterson, for raising a debate. And one of the MLCs was Peter Reid as well. I'm aware of Peter Reid because he was at Lloyd's Bank, working for the Lloyd's Bank there too. He raised particular issues regarding, the post offices have gone past that hurdle now where they won't get things back. Still disappointed with Stu Peters, who has not really intervened a great deal, I suppose, to reassure because we're going to lose the one in Onken as well. The one in the main village is going because of the contract that was offered by the post office. I don't know the full details, but it's not even going to pay the person to keep the building going.
Well, let's just remind people, first of all, sorry, David, to interrupt you, but just remind people what this debate was all about. And that the Speaker of the House of Keys, I think he warned of a two-tier society because he was thinking about the digitisation of services. And it's a really difficult one, isn't it, David? Because on the one hand, and I think the Chief Minister, Alfred Cannon, made this point, on the one hand, you want government to save money and you want to make things more efficient. Yet on the other hand, there is still an absolute need to have those face-to-face services, particularly for people who aren't necessarily fully digital themselves. So it's a real tricky one.
Yeah, and it is difficult because technology is coming along all the time. The amount of people I get involved with, they keep saying about scams coming on the phones. We can't even stop them. But I wouldn't mind if we actually we got into reducing the amount of staff we've got, or the issues where we get into contracts and we haven't got them sorted, like the next promenade one, the horse cars and whatever. It's going to have to be a tight contract, because where the builders going to come from? They're not going to come from the Isle of Man, are they, to put the tracks down? They're going to come from the UK. And it's to be fair, I suppose, like Peter Kelly said a couple of days ago there, the best thing they could do is cut the sod, lay bits of concrete or a bit of track, and then we'll celebrate something and wait for it to happen in the next election year.
We'll have to wait and see. As I say, as Julian raised that point, it'd be interesting to see who's going to carry out that business case and what it actually looks like. But with regard to the future of the post office then, and trying to balance everything, David, obviously as somebody who's had previous experience as a politician over here, what would you be doing?
Well, I wouldn't have killed the tax discs. I know it costs money to print stuff, but with technology now, the way printers and the internet service can go, I would have left that with the post offices. That would have given them some revenue there. But just to say like I say, the contract that were offered to the one in Onken, it was everything else had gone except you can do the parcels. And I think the offer was something like 50p a parcel. He's never going to make a living.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. David, lovely to talk to you. Go out and enjoy some more of that sunshine.
Will do. Bye.
Take care. That was David Quirk there talking about that post office debate which happened in the Tynwald Chamber this week. So somebody asking what that big plane was that just flew over. Chris Quirk is a flipping superstar. I knew he'd know. It was a United States Air Force Boeing C-17A Globemaster III. I don't know if that's how you say it. So these are large military transport aircrafts, and according to the flight tracking data, it was cruising at around about 33,000 feet while it passed over us. The C-17 regularly used by the US Air Force for moving troops, equipment and supplies between bases, and flights across the Atlantic and over the Irish Sea around this point are quite routine. So although it might have seemed a little bit unusual if you'd spotted it, this was a normal military transit flight rather than anything out of the ordinary, or I suppose what we'd all be thinking connected to any specific incident. Some of your texts and emails then. This is from Pam. I'd like to ask all the MHKs and the people of the Isle of Man during this election year how they would prioritise capital expenditure. Replacing Ramsey Cottage Hospital, extending the emergency department at Nobles Hospital, replacing Cumnor Moor in Ramsey, or extending a Victorian tramway for a few extra tourists. Just asking, says Pam. Well, incidentally, this is something that we've been doing over the past few weeks, and will continue to go round to every single constituency and speak to voters in that area to see what they think the particular priorities are. Francis says, can we talk about September's election in an open and honest context, please? May I suggest that before voting, people take a sheet of A4 paper and draw a line down the middle, left side for good things, right side for bad things, done by current MHKs, and then take a good look at what's been achieved. Down here in Ramsey, it will have been 10 years with very little done, no new resources, facilities or improvements. The town, says Francis, feels unkempt and many empty shops, some are even being demolished. We need people, he says, who take action and don't just talk. Texter 313 has been in touch on the subject of healthcare. We do not need a bigger A&E department. We need more GPs. That would relieve A&E from the number of patients that would normally be dealt with by a GP. The hospital also does not need more matrons on large salaries. It needs more nursing staff on the wards dealing with patients. That is from Marie. Sorry, apologies. Texter 313 actually said the number of available beds at Nobles Hospital is well below the OECD EU average of 4.6 beds per 1,000 population. How will the Isle of Man cope with a population of 100,000? Let's go back to the lines now. We can join Renee this afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm well, thank you. Are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. What would you like to talk about?
David mentioned that we won't have the skills here for track laying.
Oh, yes.
Now, it's different track, I know. But JCK bought a machine now, I'm sure it was about 3 years or so ago, and they laid the track going out on King Edward Road, Groudle Road as we all call it.
Ah, okay.
So it's a different type of track, but surely skills are interchangeable and we may have people over here.
Do you know what? Let's ask that question and see if we can find out the answer. But yeah, it would seem to make sense if that had already happened, and I don't know how different it would be or whatever. But yeah, let's ask that question. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Take care. So it seems maybe we do have the equipment over here potentially. If anybody can let us know before the end of the programme, or we'll ask afterwards and let you know. Paul has been in touch about infrastructure and public works generally. Has anybody noticed there are numerous hairline cracks appearing along the length of the promenade seawall? This could cause issues going forward, with salt water attacking the steel reinforcement internally, making it rust and expand. It's not going to happen overnight, but it could be a big problem further down the line. I hope the DOI is monitoring them in case they expand. Again, obviously not something that I particularly know anything about. I don't know if it's anything to do with settling or whatever, but again, that is a question we can ask. Thank you very much indeed, Paul. Ian's been in touch. Following on from the Lord Street planning approval granted on Monday, I think, he says, it was probably the wrong decision. However, he says, what I really struggle to comprehend is the fact that the planning committee, with the exception of the chair, is made up of lay people. These people are unelected, have no mandate from the people of the Isle of Man, no qualifications in planning, so what gives them the right to dictate what is or is not built here on the island? The cynic in me, says Paul, tells me that the job has been passed on to these people by our elected politicians, as it's probably not a vote winner. My understanding is the Isle of Man is the only place in the UK where unelected people make planning decisions, and I would be interested to hear your listeners' view. That is from Ian. Do you have any thoughts on that? Just gone 12:30. We'll take another quick break. 66 13 68. There's still plenty of time to talk to you on air. Let's just quickly go back to the lines now, because Julian's back, and we were talking about that military plane that went over. Julian, I understand you saw it, did you?
Yeah, it was in the south, so he nipped past. So he's actually up from Bryce Norton, and they're just doing some exercises, so they just decided to do a low approach and go around. And if anybody's got a scanner handy, he's currently talking to Anglesey at Valley on 266.125, if anyone has a scanner that can reach that frequency.
Oh, brilliant. It's lovely things like that, isn't it? And I think these, the flight tracker apps and everything, and I know people look in the marine tracker ones as well, as I know you do. But it's a really good fun.
Yeah, actually, it's not showing up on Flight Radar because they don't always show the military, but on adsbexchange.com, it's coming up as long as you've got the filter on for military aircraft. So he's just kind of going down the coast of Wales at the moment. So I think he's having a nice fly round.
Oh, I bet he is. What weather for it? You didn't get a photo, did you?
I did, actually.
Oh, did you?
Send it in?
Oh, yes, please. That'd be brilliant. If we can share that, that'd be great. Thank you.
It's slightly distant, but I'm sure you'll see it.
Oh, brilliant. Julian, thank you so much.
All right, see you later. Bye.
Take care. That was Julian there, just talking about that large military aircraft that went over in the past half hour. Now, Roger Gimbert has been in touch with a thought about heating oil and liquid gas. He says there is the very real prospect of heating oil and liquid gas doubling or tripling when the next supply reaches the Isle of Man. EVF has said they can't give a price per litre. The VAT at 5% still means that the revenue to Treasury will double or triple. Roger says there are a lot of people on liquid gas and heating oil that are going to be impacted, especially those on fixed incomes. I have suggested to politicians, he says, that they drop the rate of VAT to 2.5% if the unit price doubles, or a rebate of the VAT if it can't be reduced due to the VAT sharing agreement. Even those in Peel will be affected, says Roger. I have the main gas main running up the road outside the front of my house on Derby Road, not down the back lane though, so it isn't possible to convert to gas without major cost. So he says this is not just a rural property issue. Natural gas prices are usually hedged, whereas the heating oil is not, and heavily market dependent. That was a comment from Roger Gimbert. Well, we have heard today that the chair of Manx Utilities says the organisation's forward buying strategy has limited the island's exposure to those volatility gas prices. Speaking in Tynwald, John Wannenberg said that at the time of the strikes on Iran by the USA and Israel, Manx Utilities held a very strong forward-looking gas position. So as of the 28th of February this year, the authority was 91% hedged for the remainder of the current financial year. And as we heard a little bit earlier, hedging is that term that refers to a strategy where energy is purchased in advance, prices are locked in, and that does something to protect against market fluctuations. So Mr. Wannenberg says the escalation in the Middle East has caused a sharp rise in forward gas prices, costs increasing from 77 pence per therm to 120 pence per therm. That was on the 2nd of March, later actually reaching highs of 170 pence per therm. However, Mr. Wannenberg believes the authority's high level of hedging has significantly reduced its exposure to those increases. And at current prices, he said the MUA estimates its additional costs have been limited to less than £50,000 until the next financial year. And he added that the authority is already 88% hedged for the 26-27 year, supplies secured across both summer and winter periods. He did, though, caution that the longer-term impact on tariffs is going to depend on how long this conflict continues. But he believes there is no immediate implication for prices at the moment. Well, because the weather decided not to play ball. I don't know what on earth that comment was on the bottom of that script there. Let's go back to the lines and join Betty now. Betty, good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, Beth. I just first have to say, I'm sure you were beautiful when you were younger.
Oh, thanks. But I'm not now. Thanks. Thank you, Betty.
No, I have never seen you, so I can't say.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that was an opener, Betty. Thank you.
I'm sure you are, though. I just want to say that I agree about the horse trams. They should just get on and do it. We spend so much money on these organisations making decisions that don't even know the island. You know, it should be the MHKs that we have voted in that makes the decision.
Well,
it should go ahead.
This is the crux of it, really, isn't it, Betty? Because people feel, or some people certainly, that because Tynwald did vote for this quite a while ago now, that should be the course of action that happens. And certainly, and you know what, on a day like this, going up and down the prom on the horse trams is quite a thing.
Yes, it's good for the island. I probably wouldn't go on a horse tram because, well, I did go on once and I got off after one stop because I was worried about the poor horses.
But I suppose that's, again, the problem, isn't it? And lots of people want to see that track fully reinstated, but actually, would we all use it and therefore make it economically viable?
Well, I don't think it needs to be economically viable because I think it encourages tourism. We get the money that way.
OK, Betty. Well, thank you very much indeed for your call. Lovely to hear from you as ever.
Take care, and I'm sure you are beautiful.
All right, Betty. Thank you so much. That was Betty there talking about the horse trams. A clear switchboard at the moment, so 66 13 68. If there's anything at all that you would like to give me a shout about, would love to hear from you. Let's go to some more texts and emails, though, now. Southern Andy's been in touch to say, is Manx Care preparing to confirm they can provide full coverage for the TT, Southern 100, MGP and Classic? Last year, he says, a Southern 100 practice session was stopped due to the emergency department being overloaded, and now we hear the department is unsuitable for normal coverage, let alone race coverage. It's a good point, Southern Andy, there, and one we can ask. I don't know whether that's something maybe that we'll know more about nearer to the time, but let's ask that question. Pat says, I have just received information from a member of government. The National Insurance Reserve Fund stands at just under £1 billion and, unless revised, will run out in around 12 years under current spending. The use of NI contributions is now at its highest level, says Pat. More people are being encouraged to register as companies and pay themselves at minimal salaries below the lower earnings limit, topping up income with dividends, resulting in little or no NI contributions. This practice, says Pat, is widespread in construction, with staff often classed as self-employed, and is now spreading into other industries such as retail, cleaning and taxis. Why is no MHK or minister prepared to address this? Victoria says, I have had concerns about the presence of armed police on the streets, but I have to say the police talk at the Falcon last night was excellent. Alan was in touch a little bit earlier just to say the same. And it's great to hear that actually that these sort of presentations really do the job that I guess they are intended to do, to be informative and certainly in this instance provide a little bit of reassurance. Pete says, regarding the horse trams, by the time there's any progress on extending the line, the general election will have taken place and new MHKs could still step in and change things. The current administration may be aware of this, which could explain the agreement on the issue this week. Sarah says, unless I'm mistaken, Michelle Hayward, the former DOI minister, is on record confirming that the horse tram report is ready to go to Tynwald, unless Tim Crookall, the current minister, is talking about something different. What exactly is he referring to regarding reports? Sarah also says it's lovely and sunny in Peel at the moment. Texter ending 775 says, as fuel prices rise and with better weather, more people would use the horse trams if they went all the way along the promenade. This job needs to be finished as soon as possible, as the money issues were not the public decision. Why is everything moving so slowly on this? And texter ending 258 says the situation at the hospital could have big implications with the TT. That's echoing the other thought we just heard on that. The Southern 100 could not run its Monday night session a few years ago. I wonder if I think it might have been last year that happened, but I don't know whether sometimes, that is an extraordinary situation. I don't know whether maybe that's been taken into account. But again, as I say, we can put those questions to Manx Care, and they are very good to respond to us. So hopefully we'll have a response for you by the time we get to tomorrow's programme. Lots of things in the news. I mentioned at the start of the programme, actually, that hall in Bulldrine. There's a requisition meeting. It's being held next Friday, so a week on Friday. That's March the 27th at 7:30. And the Bulldrine Methodist Sunday School is where the meeting is going to be held. And really it's because there's a dwindling congregation. So the future of that hall really is under threat. We heard Captain of the Parish, Captain Steve Carter, MBE, say it really is a valuable asset. Its loss would lead to the small community there not having a public space for gatherings. And there must be lots of places like this around the Isle of Man. I wonder how important your local community hall is to you. Let's go back to the lines and we can join Wilf now. Good afternoon, Wilf.
Hiya. It's just something I've just thought about now. I was on the other day about the amount of parking there would be for this block of flats, this 12-storey thing.
Oh, talk about the Lord Street development. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking how much ground there is to build this thing on. I was just thinking to myself, well, people that go to it's going to cost a lot of money to build this thing. They've got to find people to go in it, paying whatever rent they're going to pay. Sometimes, and it does happen, they won't get paid the rent. There'll be people owing rent and all this sort of thing. They're getting in trouble and all that. My idea would be forget all that and put up a multi-storey car park as big as you can get on that area. And when you do something like that, if it's the same people that does it as is going to build the hotel, it's a no-brainer. You get paid every day. You can't lose. You can forget looking for rent or whatever. Every time somebody comes in with a car and puts money into one of them machines, that's your money. It's it's a real money maker. Plus the fact it helps the people of Douglas. I mean, now I'm a Douglas person, and I don't know really the area, but it's just my thought. That's the way I would do things.
That's an interesting thought, Wilf, and I wonder what people maybe who do live in the area feel, whether they'd rather see something like that than the current proposed development that was given the go-ahead this week. I guess also I wonder, we've obviously got Shaw's Brown, Chester Street car park. Are they always full to the max, I wonder? I don't know.
Well, you've got Chester Street car park, right? That's always full. And then you've got no room on the promenade. You've got no room anywhere else in Douglas much to park. So let's have another one. We've got increased population all the time. So let's have another car park for the people in Douglas, right in the middle of town. And instead of a hotel, this is my advice to the people who's building the hotel. Forget the hotel, do a multi-story car park, and you're paid every day without fail. It's a big money earner.
Maybe it's not all about the money for them, Wilf, eh?
Just my thoughts, that's all.
Amazing. Wilf, thank you very much indeed. Lovely to talk to you.
Okay.
Take care. Enjoy your afternoon. That was Wilf there, so I don't know what you make of what he had to say. Would you rather see as big a multi-storey car park as you possibly could on that site instead of what is proposed? Let's just talk a little bit more then about the horse tram debate, which was in Tynwald this week. It was back in the spotlight. Members unanimously backed that move to bring forward detailed plans to restore the full length of the line. But that doesn't mean necessarily that's absolutely going to happen. We're just going to see a business case. Douglas South MHK Sarah Maltby was the one who brought that to Tynwald, and she's been talking to Phil Gaughan.
Despite what many people might think, this administration actually hasn't discussed the horse trams, and we have been waiting for this business case and waiting for the capital funding request. So this isn't something that we have actually had a say in. So it kick-started that, and I think it was a really positive outcome, unanimously supported today.
And that's quite surprising to me to learn that this iteration of Tynwald, since the last Keys election, this hasn't been discussed.
Yeah, it does surprise me too, but I suppose there has been a huge amount of things that we have had to deal with and to get through. It's not been an easy administration. I think we have been told it was coming. It just hasn't ever got to the bit, and Mr. Gard made a video. It sparked within me a passion to say, right, this has gone on long enough now. You really have had as many opportunities as we possibly could afford. We need to bring this into the public domain, because at the moment the public don't think that we care about this, and actually there's members in that court who really care about the heritage on the Isle of Man.
There was some recognition perhaps in the debate that this is not a hard and fast business proposition. The business case isn't about the money. This is a heritage case. Is that fair?
Yeah, I do think it is fair. It is a heritage case, predominantly. Of course it is. It's the longest running heritage rail horse tramway in the world. It's something that we should be really proud of. And what we need to remember is what we value and how people value what our heritage is. People have come from around the world to see our heritage rails on the island. They really value the Victorian infrastructure that we have here. This is not just something that we like to do because it's nostalgic. This is something that people really pay good money to come to the island to see. They'll stand in the rain, the wind, the hail. They'll stand there and they'll take their photos, and they'll really appreciate what we have here. And I don't think sometimes that's always fully recognised as being a valuable asset to have.
That is Sarah Maltby, who brought that Tynwald motion this month, speaking there to Phil Gaughan. So we'll wait to see what happens with that one. Ali has sent a fantastic photograph of that military aircraft. She said it was so low over her house. She lives down south. She said, we're right on the flight path, actually. I could almost see the pilot's eyes. And Ali says I can share that photograph. I think Julian sent one as well. So thank you. We'll share those on the social media pages a little bit later this afternoon. Just gone 10 to 1, so still a few minutes left if you'd like to get in touch about anything at all. 166 177 studio@manxradio.com. You can find us on WhatsApp as well if you'd like to get in touch with a message, or we can take a call to air 66 13 68. Kevin H. in Port Erin says Ellen Van Fuels can't give an up-to-date price, whereas Manx Petroleum can. It worries me why Ellen Van Fuels are not being as clear. Sorry, that message was from Pedro. This one is from Kevin. Unfortunately, Joe Cox of IEG did say they don't hedge. Therefore, gas customers will be exposed to market prices. Only Manx Utilities hedge for electricity cost. That is worth clarification. Thank you very much indeed, Kevin. Steve says the service with regard to the Horse Tramway should not only run to the sea terminal, but continue along North Quay to the steam railway station. What are we if we lose our heritage and tourism? What do you make of that idea? I mean, a little bit of a joined up transport approach there. Would you like to see it? Where would it go along the quay, I suppose? If you just would you have one track too? So many questions. Brian says, is it true, and if so, is it right that MHKs receive half their salary if they are not re-elected? I think this should be stopped altogether. Many may not be re-elected because of their performance, and if 24 were to receive this, it would be a significant cost to taxpayers. If any support is needed, perhaps a lower time-limited payment could be considered instead. I suppose, to be fair, Brian, for some people, perhaps if they don't have another job, you know, this has been their main career or job at this point, and then to suddenly be out of work and to have no income would be a difficult position. So, I don't know what other people think about that. Bry says, the texter ending 269 says, the business case for the trams was completed by the Public Transport Division 2 to 3 years ago. It's likely been sitting with senior DOI officers while costs continue to rise. This is the same officer who supported reducing the scope of the tramway in the first place. It's all recorded, says texter 269, in the Promenade Steering Committee minutes. Bry says, I'm fairly sure it's well known that the horse trams lose around £250,000 each year, yet all we hear are calls to return them to the full length of the promenade. That's kind of what I was saying before, actually. I mean, is it one of those things, certainly given the current situation, and we hear about cost pressures in other areas, do we have to get to the point where we're thinking about the nice to haves as opposed to the absolute essentials? I don't know what you think about that, but it is interesting, isn't it, because we have been out and about talking to a lot of people, especially regarding election issues, because we have the House of Keys general election coming up on the 23rd of September. And everybody has a different view, don't they? Everybody has a different view about what is most important to them, what is most important to the Isle of Man. We're in Garth this week, and they talked about the prospect of a wind farm off the east coast, plans for the new sewage treatment works, and they also mentioned potholes as well. So you go from these big national issues to things that really are a lot more personal and local. We are going to every constituency over the next few weeks just to find out what people there feel are the main issues. And if you would like to take a look at our election coverage, we have got a dedicated election mini website, and it's got all the details about how you register to vote, how you can find out more about the candidates that have stood so far. I think we've got 3 so far. They've got the full profile on there. Of course, as we move on over the next few months, we'll be talking to them in much more detail about their manifesto pledges, talking to sitting candidates who may be standing again to find out what they make of the past 5 years, how they feel that they have performed during this administration, and what they want to promise you, the voter, ahead of the next general election. So really comprehensive details on there already, so do take a look at that website. Just to let you know that on tomorrow's programme, Alex will be back in the chair, and he is going to be talking to pharmacist Nick Kay from Kingsley Mutey. Obviously, we've been hearing a lot this week about that meningitis outbreak in the UK. We've had the details from the Public Health Director over here, really saying do not panic. It's really difficult, isn't it? It's one of those diseases which really does make people panic. But we'll be talking to Nick about Men B particularly, because a lot of the cases that have been confirmed in the UK have been confirmed as that strain. So if you've got any questions at all, obviously, as ever, when Nick's on the programme, we can't give individual advice, but he can talk broadly about any issues that you might have. So do get in touch. 166 177 studio@manxradio.com, or as ever, if we are not on air, you can use 682 631, leave a message. Titch says anybody can lose their job, but they don't have the privilege of half pay. That's talking about the MHKs. A conversation to continue perhaps, but for today, thank you so much indeed for your company. If you did miss any part of the programme, if you want to hear Betty's comment again, I'm not sure I do, but I know you meant Betty. if you did miss it, and hopefully you were outside looking at the sunshine, you can listen as a podcast that will be available very shortly. As I say, Alex, back with you tomorrow. That out of hours number 682-631. Thank you so much to Chris Quirk for producing today's programme. Christy D is next with 1 to 3, and I'll be back at 5 with Update. Have a lovely, lovely afternoon.